The Po' Boy Pundits podcast is brought to you by What Lola Wants. Go to WLWPrivateChefs.com for information to reserve top quality chef and restaurant services in the Chicagoland area. Pulpery Media presents Po' Boy Pundits with your hosts, Brock and Ben. This is where we discuss the political headlines that grab our attention and all those little jerks that infuriate us.
Right. Here's this gun. Here's this cannon. Now give me the cash.
We're backing them. So if they can repel Russia and they become sovereign again, then we'll come collect. Yeah. Well, the reason I had this topic up, and I can bring it back to what my note is, in that there's, at least I'm seeing stitches, because I've carefully crafted my feeds.
But those motherfuckers.
Yeah, but this idea of like why some of the Republicans are angry about Biden handing over the missiles and stuff like that, and going, well, we don't want to get pulled into another war. But then at the same time, they're going, they're willing to fight amongst their own fellow citizens and shit like that.
They were also talking about, I guess, just looking the other way for Bibi. They weren't talking about giving him anything.
Right. But the thing that got me thinking about that was, and it's this weird nostalgia thing that a lot of the GOP voters have, which is, they think the United States needs to return back to the 1950s, and that we can handle, or it was something I saw that came up with China, and that like, well, if China wants to go to war, we'll be ready. And I was thinking about it and going like, no, we won't, because we've sent almost all of our manufacturing to other countries, whether it be Mexico or overseas.
The first thing that happens is trade stops.
Yeah.
That's it.
But then, yeah, so in that, and of course, we
weren't relying on China in the 1950s.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah, World War II, almost all manufacturing was done here in the United States. And then
they're like, see, man, that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, that would be great, but we don't have that infrastructure anymore. So if we did get into a global conflict and we had to do what, say, like FDR or President Wilson did in World War I and convert all manufacturing into wartime manufacturing, we don't have the infrastructure anymore.
Nope.
And then on top of that, we don't have a workforce in this country because we're primarily a service workforce.
Correct.
So then it would take even longer to so first you have to build the factories, then you have to train the people who will then train the incoming people.
I know. I've watched Severance, and I've worked in the corporate world. I get it. But yeah, that's exactly. Isn't there something that a president can call wartime to a shit like that? It gives him the power.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Roosevelt did it. But
Trump wants to do that.
Sure, but go ahead and do it, and then you're going to find out like, oh, we have 1/3 the factories that we did back in 1941, or 1941. We don't. We would have to build that again, and then what are you talking about? Government-run factories?
Facts.
So
it doesn't. Then they become sweatshops.
Yeah, and it hasn't tax breaks and giving a constant. Tax breaks on the federal level and on the state level for businesses to put their manufacturing plants in only lasts a little while, and then they inevitably move to a country with lower wages and no unions.
Exactly. So
it's just it would be a shit show if we got involved into a worldwide conflict on the level of like World War.
Yeah, no. And those things don't end quickly.
No. It's never over by Christmas. Never. We'll be home by Christmas. No, you won't.
Actually, no. You won't.
But I think, that's where...
Start the clock, whatever.
Oh, shit. That's all right.
We'll figure it out.
It's the last segment.
So, yeah, finding out.
Yeah. Well, and with some of these cabinet picks, like...
I'm already hearing that infrastructure in Texas is going to be a shit show with them trying to build, what do they call them? They call them camps now.
Yeah.
Temporary housing.
Yeah, that might be the nice word, but
that's what I'm saying. Somebody needs to be workshopping words to use. Like, you can't be like, we're building camps. No.
Oh, I'm sorry, concentration camps.
Right. No. We're building temporary housing.
Sure, yeah.
We're giving them, we're treating them fine.
Yeah, but see, but if you make it temporary housing, then that's going to piss off half your base, being like, where do they get free housing? They're already giving cell phones and
stipends,
thousands of dollars in cash,
a bank account,
and cats and dogs,
and a passport to 6 countries.
Right. Why are we giving them free housing now?
And this
I need that. Send me to a camp.
This is where we're at in the world, or at least here. Although, I've been reading more and more and seeing more and more that it's more of a global thing than we realize.
No, it is, and but yeah, it's just sad that, again, in a country this size, that many people can be swayed so simply that they. But this answers that question that a lot of people have. Well, how did Germany get that way? Well, because people were focused on one issue.
Yeah.
And they just ignored everything else.
Correct.
And
this time it was the economy and the border.
Right. But then a lot of those people who are now going to be suspected, who I guess voted that way thinking they would be protected in some way or something, but it's like they're not. I mean, same as when we had the discussion of if it's like conservative Catholics, and you're talking about this country becoming returning it to Jesus.
They're doing that in Oklahoma. And cocksucker bought Bibles and went, thank God that there was a sane judge.
Yeah.
There. And Texas is now teaching the Bible in school.
But then
as an ancient
eventually somebody's gonna get into it about, well, which version? Like whose translation?
Yeah.
Because
I say, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That makes more sense than someone going, what about the Satanic Bible?
No.
Or the Quran? Or...
No, but that's what, I mean, yeah, you get some Karen mom who was like, I don't want my kid reading the King James. I want them reading, Joseph Smith's Bible.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, so, whose version of this...
The King James.
...is the correct one, right?
Right now, apparently it's the King James.
Right, but then... That's why I bring up like Catholics and that like there's an American Catholic Bible like that is not the King James. It's based off of the original Latin, and that's the one sanctioned by the church. So
not King James.
No.
No shit.
No, because King James was a Protestant. Why would the Catholic Church have a Protestant version of the Bible? That makes no sense. Right, but eventually that's where this stupid idea could lead to.
I love it.
And then
can't wait.
But that's why, like in the end, if evangelicals take over the country, it doesn't matter if you believe in God. They're gonna ask which God you believe in. Is it the Jewish God? Is it the Catholic God? Or is it our God?
Everybody should watch the scene in Full Metal Jacket when he asked Joker about going to church.
Yeah.
I don't believe in God. And he punches him in the dick. That is what it will be like.
Could be, yeah.
Exactly.
But it's all just stupid.
It is. Like, there's no way the Supreme Court walks that back. No way. No way.
I mean, I can't imagine how they would do it.
Right.
But, for the longest time, people thought. I mean, they found out a way around it. Like, or they found out a way around Roe versus Wade. Oh, we'll send it back to the states. It's not a federal issue. So that's probably what it would end up being. Is that that's not an issue that the federal government should be deciding. Whether prayer should be in schools, whether Bible should be taught in schools.
Well, Oklahoma's Supreme Court has already said no.
Right.
And if I had to get, Texas voted 8-7 for the preaching in classroom, or
Yeah.
the Bible being taught.
Right, and that's which is weird. You would open up lawsuits like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, whose benefit is this?
Well, and then now it's. I mean, the state Supreme Court isn't going to pay for it, but your school board is going to end up paying for it, which
Right.
then they only have a limited amount of money, and
Correct.
so then that means they're going to have to and if I were a parent in one of
Especially
the schools,
in the state,
I would be suing for a lot of money.
the size of Texas.
Yeah.
Like, Oklahoma's a different thing. There's like 38 people who live there. So, what it cost them $600 for the Bibles.
Yeah, but even so, is that if you start having this type of litigation and then you don't have a Department of Education too,
Right.
then
So who are you litigating against then? The school itself?
if it's a public school, the school board
Right.
would eventually be the one that foots that bill.
In Oklahoma, it would be the state superintendent of schools.
Yeah, I guess if you were you just would sue the school board because the superintendent is a representative of the school board, but
Yeah, I was just trying to get to the highest person. Education
well, I mean, you
person
just go
in the
back to
state.
Brown versus Board of Education. Like, they didn't sue the superintendent of Tulsa schools; they sued
the school board.
Yeah, and then that one was just to end a practice. But if you're talking about, I mean, nowadays you could say, "Oh, it caused my child trauma."
Yeah.
Like, or what happens if your child doesn't want to pray or puts their head down during preaching sessions, and then they're disciplined.
Then
for
it'll
it.
be, then we're in a Pink Floyd video. Like,
New call, caviar, 4-star daydream.
I have been slapped with a ruler because
Yeah.
I was young enough to go to a Catholic school to where that was still acceptable.
Yeah.
Because nuns don't fuck around.
But they don't have to. Like, that was the whole thing. Was back then it was, if you were a problem kid, get out, go to public school.
Exactly.
And but yeah, I mean, but that's the other problem too, is that if that happens and then they continue this school voucher program, then you're going to have those kids that get kicked out of public school can at least, if it's a family with a little bit of means, can get them into a private school, and
Right.
then that private school is going to be fucked because what they used to think that they could do,
Correct.
which is just axe a kid once they were a problem. No, you're getting public funds for that. So
Correct.
now you got to take that to the school board and
Yep.
present, and you get to find out how hard it is for a kid to be expelled from public school.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Bruh.
it is not easy.
I got expelled quick.
Well, probably because there was. I mean, I
was in Monroe, Louisiana. And
yeah. Was that from Neville?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, probably because there was like a competing high school you could go into, right?
No.
There wasn't one across town?
I didn't care. I just left the state. I just left the state. I'm not fucking with them.
Well, maybe they knew that was. Of course, that was a different time. Now it's much harder.
That was much different
Yeah.
time.
Now because we don't even want to hold kids back. So, but I'm getting on a tangent about
I
public
got held
education.
back. Fuck.
Yeah, a lot of people did, but now it's so traumatic for the child. That's why you are the way you are now.
Really? Because I got held back?
I mean,
And I got held back like in 7th grade or something. 6th grade. Like, I didn't get held back in kindergarten or something. Like, I was almost in middle school.
Cool, yeah.
6th grade, maybe.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was me.
The following segment has been brought to you by Whatever Lola Wants. Go to WLWPrivateChefs.com for information to reserve top quality chef and restaurant services in the Chicagoland area. The Po' Boy Podcast is a production of Pulpery Media, produced and edited by Ben Grimion, marketing by Brock Ryder, graphic design by Beck Ryder and Ben Grimion, music by the Heisenberg Compensators.